how do you describe the plot without describing the plot? Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, down to the last page. Now for today's video, I'll be looking at my top 5. It's another one of my top 5 series videos, my top 5 tearjerkers or emotional books. So books that have definitely had me in my feels and books that definitely put a tear to my eye. As of the moment I'm recording this video, I am still currently reading other books, other novels off my bookshelf. So this technically top 5 could change in the future. Who knows, I might potentially put another video out, so it'll be like a top 5 part 2 of this video, so let's see what happens. So just a quick disclaimer before I start the video: all opinions are my own. All the books I'll be talking about are non-spoiler, so in case you do want to pick these up in the future, you can do so. And yeah, that's all about it. Here we go. The first book is I've got it here, it's inverted, is The Love of Her Life by Harriet Evans. Now, just a quick synopsis, like I do with all my books. The story revolves around Kate Miller. She's an assistant at a publishing firm in New York, and she's been living in New York for 3 years now. She's now returning back to London after finding out that her father's health is declining. And not just that, there's a definite hesitation, definite resentment. There's also a fear of her returning back to London because not only is Kate coming back after 3 years, there's also a history that she has to face. The story then moves on to a flashback, so we go back a couple of years, back to pretty much the start of Kate's career, and you actually get a chance to see that she was at the start of a promising career. And as the story goes on, we obviously get to find out, as in most books, what led her going to New York in the first place. Now, all I can say about this story is that it's the ultimate story of the one that got away. We get a chance to go through Kate through university. I don't want to mention other names or things like that without giving away too much of the story, but we go through Kate going into a relationship. We get a chance to see her insecurities, the beginning of those relationships, and of course the feeling of falling in love and letting that love go, and obviously having to fight those inner demons. She does get her fair share of drama in this, and of course, what's a love story without a fair share of drama? There are other people involved, and again, I can't say too much without giving it away, but it did definitely have me in my feels, especially when Kate had to sort of re-encounter lost love, love that she was hurt by, and all sorts of things going on. Overall, it was such a good read, and towards the middle to the end, having to obviously the amount of emotions and things Kate has to battle through, a lot of issues to deal with there. But again, this is such an amazing story that it kind of hits you, and it kind of makes you think about lost love, regret love, things like that, and it's definitely a good read and definitely one to check out. Now the second book is To the Moon and Back by Jill Mansell. I'll have better photos of these. They just come out inverted. My camera, I'm unfortunately recording my phone camera, so it comes out inverted. But To the Moon and Back by Jill Mansell. So this book follows Ellie Kendall, who tragically loses her husband. You get to find this out early on in the story. So she tragically loses her husband, and the story then fast forwards 15 months where Ellie's moving into a new flat. She's about to take on a new job, and obviously we don't get a chance to see a lot of what happens at the beginning of the story in terms of how she was able to move on, but there's also definitely the mental repercussions that she's dealing with after losing her husband. Then enter sophisticated and sexy Zach McLaren, who's absolutely blown away by Ellie, pretty much love at first sight. Unfortunately, Ellie doesn't see him nor gives him the time of day. With her trying to move on with her own part, with her own life, Zach's obviously a potential new love interest that comes onto the scene that's trying to sweep her off her feet. Now, why did this get me emotional and in my feels? Well, this is such a good story of moving forward, moving on. Ellie's trying to build her life again. We do kind of go back and forth as to when the incident had happened, and obviously the sort of things that Ellie's been going through. Zach's not the only potential love interest. I can't spoil on who the other interest was. However, there is this need to move on. There's this need to sort of move on with your life. Ellie being such an amazing, strong character, and the ability to let go. There's a lot of traces of how Ellie still holds on to her husband, and it's definitely hard for, and I guess anyone that's ever been in a position where you've lost a loved one, feeling guilt, even regret, almost how can you move forward when you're still sort of stuck in your past? And that's one of the things I actually loved about this story, which it talks about it beautifully, how she sort of overcame that, because obviously we did the time jump and we went past a lot of the darker times that Ellie was through, it's such a sort of refreshing take. And obviously Zach trying to, like any man, try and play his cards right to somehow woo Ellie. It's such an amazing take to see that she still suffers sort of that mental backlash of losing her husband, and it's the same block that's there that's stopping her from moving forward. The next book is The First Last Kiss by Ali Harris, and I've got it right here. This story follows Molly and Ryan and their relationship that expands over several years. Now, there are several timelines in this story, and the timeline that we are in, so the current timeline that the story starts off is 2012, and we're introduced to Molly, who's currently in the process of packing up her house, and we get the idea that she's in the process of moving. And then it rewinds back to 2007 that we get an exempt. So every time we kind of go back and forth within the timeline, there's an exempt or a small example of Molly and Ryan's relationship that we get in each time. So after it goes back to 2007, then it fast forwards, 2005, then it fast forwards to 2007, then we get sort of another exempt from their relationship. And this is how the stories are completely told until we kind of meet up with the modern timeline where we start at the beginning of the story. Why I teared up in this story is that it's such an amazing celebration of love between Molly and Ryan. We get to see everything they go through. We meet Molly and Ryan in one of their sort of flashbacks when they first met, when they would be in sort of 16, 17, so they were really young, or 15 actually, very young in high school, and everything they went through. Their relationship wasn't as smooth sailing, but I love the dynamic that we get introduced to when both parties obviously have their different issues, different outside problems. You've got meddling parents, you've got suffocating friends, and obviously the breakthrough of trying to get independence as a couple, as in a relationship. This was such an amazing story because of that love, because of the things they went through, and it has an amazing end. And again, very few things I can actually say about these books because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. However, it's such an amazing read, and it did definitely have me tearing up as you jump back and forth through the timeline to sort of reminisce their relationship, and eventually leading up to where we are in the current time of 2012 in the book. The next book is by Dorothy Koomson, Goodnight, Beautiful. So Goodnight, Beautiful talks about Nova and Mal, their childhood friends that have grown up together, and it's probably one of the most agonising stories of will they and won't they. But unfortunately, alas, due to timing and fate, Nova and Mal never ever actually get together in the book. We've got then Mal, who introduces Stephanie, which is obviously Mal's wife, and due to reasons I cannot obviously explain, there's things you'll find out in the book, Stephanie and Mal ask Nova to be able to have a child for them because they desperately want a child. Nova agrees, and for reasons obviously, again, I can't really explain right now, Stephanie finds a text message from Mal to Nova saying "Goodnight, beautiful," which completely sparks off unfortunate insecurities within Stephanie and tells Mal to completely call off the whole thing, leaving Nova with an unwanted pregnancy. The reason why I teared up with this book is that this story has so many layers of different characters, different complex characters, and different levels to it of different topics that we explore. We are introduced to Nova's son, Leo. So this was Leo, the child that was meant to go to both Stephanie and Mal. We find out Stephanie is a much more complex character that she is, the wife of Mal, and the very delicate relationship that both Mal and Nova have as friends. Such an amazing story, such an uplifting story of friendship, heart loss, heartache, and of course the whole point of the story and who it involves, and the most important person, little Leo. It is a fantastic read. There's not been, it's a Dorothy Koomson book. I would have not expected anything less. Nothing short of a tear-filled story between all three characters. The final book on my list is Anybody Out There by Marian Keyes. This is the only book I don't have a physical copy of at this moment in time. My copy I lent to my friend years ago, but I did buy the book again on Kindle because, of course, I'd want to break my heart all over again. This tells the story of Anna Walsh, an Irish native that's desperate to get back to New York and back to her husband, Aidan. The story then gets told through a series of flashbacks involving Anna and Aidan, the first time Anna was in New York, her first time meeting Aidan, and everything obviously leading up to what led Anna to come back to Ireland. Now, this book definitely got me in my feels. It's right up there. I think I've read this book about twice, and both times I was definitely in tears. It was such, I don't know how to describe it. I mean, I make it sound so boring, but it was so emotionally filled. You get to see the relationships, not just between Anna and Aidan. We get a bit of an implication that something must have happened at the beginning of the story, because Anna's in bandages. We're not sure what exactly happened, and there's obviously a scar on her face. Automatically, there's a lot of insecurity issues. There's a lot of past involvement in there. We don't know what's going on just yet, but the relationship that blossoms between Anna and Aidan, the life that she has with him in New York, and all the trials and tribulations that she had to go through, obviously leading up to ultimately her being back in Ireland. There are so many good points in this story, so many high points, so many incredibly low points that make you absolutely sympathetic with Anna. And in terms of just like the first last kiss, I'm absolutely in love with the couple, Anna and Aidan. They made such an amazing couple. I felt so bad in terms of certain events that had happened in the story, but you get a chance to learn the sort of even insecurities that Anna's facing, the sort of work insecurities that she's facing, and everything that she has to battle and fight to be able to try and return back to somewhat of a normal life. This is definitely up there for me for a book that had made me cry, and it was so heartfelt, so sweet. And again, it's something that I can read again and again, because it's just that. There are some fantastic moments in this book, which again I cannot highlight on the video because of spoiler purposes. However, it's such a great read, and it's definitely up there for one of the books I'd recommend. And that's it. That's my top 5 emotionally charged, brought tears to my eyes books. Please let me know down in the comments what were your top 5 books that literally brought tears to your eyes. If this is your first time here, don't forget to subscribe. If you did like this video, please leave me a thumbs up. You can follow me on Twitter, where I always have updates and different things I talk about in terms of book related, fiction related, and of course I always put hints of what my next video is going to be about. Thanks so much for watching my video, and I'll see you all next time.